All right, so are you ready to dive into procrastination?
Always ready.
Haha, okay, good. Because that's what this deep dive is all about.
Yeah.
It's all about WHY we procrastinate, that
Yeah.
thing we all do,
Yeah.
even when we know we should be doing something else.
Absolutely.
And to help us unpack all of this, you sent in a great blog post.
Oh, yeah.
It's why procrastinators procrastinate from, wait, but why?
It's a classic.
It really is. And I have to ask,
Mm-hmm.
is there any chance you're listening to this from the dark playground right now?
Maybe.
Okay.
It's possible.
So the author starts off with this idea that procrastination isn't really a choice.
Right.
At least for true procrastinators,
Mm-hmm.
it's more like this internal struggle.
Oh, yeah.
So what do you think about that?
I think he's spot on. He uses that analogy of the brain being a battleground
Right.
between the rational decision maker and the instant gratification monkey.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's such a great way to think about it.
It's so true.
And the author tells this hilarious story about writing his senior thesis.
Oh, yeah.
He put it off for like 72 hours
Uh-huh.
and ended up at the campus doctor with numb hands from low blood sugar.
Oh, wow.
It's so funny, but also kind of terrifying
Right.
because I think a lot of us can relate to that.
Yeah, it definitely highlights the very real power struggle that's going on
Yeah.
in a procrastinator's brain.
Absolutely.
That instant gratification monkey just thrives on immediate pleasure.
Right.
So starting a daunting task like a 90-page thesis,
Yeah.
it's like facing a brick wall.
Oh, for sure.
Neurologically, it's a tug of war
Mm-hmm.
between our long-term goals and that immediate urge for gratification.
So then how does that tie into the dark playground?
Oh, the dark playground.
You know that feeling when you end up doing random things
Yeah,
instead of the thing we're supposed to be doing?
that's exactly it.
Yeah.
That's where we end up when the instant gratification monkey wins,
Mm-hmm.
that tug of war. But here's the thing. Even when we're in the dark playground,
Yeah.
we're often not even really enjoying ourselves.
Oh, no.
It's because of the underlying guilt and anxiety
Right.
from the task that's looming over us.
So it's not even really fun.
It's kind of depressing.
It is a little depressing.
But then we have the panic monster.
Oh, yeah, the panic monster.
That's when that sudden rush of terror kicks in,
Right.
when a deadline is just around the corner.
Right, or when there are consequences.
Exactly. And somehow it forces us to finally get things done.
Yeah.
So is it like our inner superhero
All right.
looping in?
Is that what's going on?
Not exactly a superhero.
Okay.
It's more like a last-minute intervention,
Oh.
high stress.
Okay.
It's triggered by those deadlines, those consequences.
Okay.
And essentially what it does is it overrides the instant gratification monkey's
Mm-hmm.
desire for fun and games.
That makes so much sense. Like,
Right.
why is it that we can go weeks without writing a single sentence, but then suddenly crank out 8 pages the night before it's due?
Classic panic monster
Yeah.
move.
Yeah.
But as effective as it might seem,
Mm.
it's not sustainable or healthy.
No, it's not a good way to operate.
No, in fact, relying on it often leads to subpar work
Yeah.
and missed opportunities for growth.
Totally. And it's not a strategy,
Right.
that I would recommend
No,
for
no.
long-term success.
Not at all.
It's like setting us up for stress and burnout,
Yeah,
even if we get the task done.
exactly. It's about understanding the nuances
Yeah.
of why we procrastinate,
Right.
not just accepting the panic monster.
That's a necessary evil.
Right.
Exactly. We need to dig deeper
We do.
and find healthier ways to manage all of this.
Absolutely.
But before we do that,
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a good place to pause.
Okay.
We've laid out the problem,
Right.
the why of procrastination.
Yeah.
So let's come back
Okay.
and explore some potential solutions.
Sounds good.
What do you say?
I'm on board.
Okay, so we're back.
Back again.
And we've explored this hilarious but also kind of terrifying battle
Uh-huh.
that happens in our brains when we
Right.
procrastinate.
Yes.
But how do we move beyond that?
That's the big question.
How do we start to beat this thing?
Well, the good news is
Okay.
that blog post,
Mm-hmm.
Why Procrastinators Procrastinate,
Yeah.
it has a follow-up post
Oh, nice.
called How to Beat Procrastination.
Okay, perfect timing.
It offers some really insightful strategies.
So what does it say?
Well, one key point
Yeah.
is that we need to kind of rethink our relationship
Okay.
with the instant gratification monkey.
Interesting.
Instead of seeing it as the enemy,
Right.
we need to understand that it's just wired for
Yeah.
instant gratification.
It's not evil.
No, not inherently evil.
It just wants what it wants.
Exactly when it wants it.
That's so true. Like, when you know you
Yeah.
should be working on a big project,
Uh-huh.
but suddenly you're like, I need to reorganize my desk drawer.
Right, exactly.
It's so much more appealing.
It is. So instead of trying to fight it head on,
Okay.
the author suggests that we work with it.
Okay.
One way to do that
Yeah.
is by making the starting process less daunting.
Less daunting. Okay.
The instant gratification monkey hates big, overwhelming tasks.
Oh, absolutely. Just thinking about a massive to-do list. I just want to crawl under my desk.
I know, me too.
And hide.
So instead of focusing on that enormity,
Okay.
of the task,
Yeah.
the blog post recommends breaking it down into smaller, more manageable steps.
Okay, so instead of write a 10-page research paper, it's write one paragraph.
Exactly.
It feels so much better.
It does. It's less intimidating.
So much less intimidating.
Even for the instant gratification monkey.
Yes, exactly. And the article also talks about creating a schedule
Yes.
that actually works for you.
Yes.
Not some,
Right.
idealized version of productivity.
Exactly. Figure out your peak productivity times.
That's so important.
Yeah. Are you a morning person?
Mm-hmm.
Do you get more done at night?
I am definitely a night owl.
Okay.
If I try to do serious work first thing in the morning,
Yeah.
it's a recipe for disaster.
It is. So don't
Yeah.
schedule your most demanding tasks
Mm-hmm.
for your peak productivity times,
Okay,
even if it's later in the day.
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And that actually reminds me of another point
Okay.
that the article brought up.
Just that.
Being more compassionate with ourselves,
Oh, that's huge.
because we tend to beat ourselves up
We do.
when we procrastinate.
Yeah.
And that just adds to the stress
It does.
and makes it even harder to get started.
It's a negative cycle.
It really is.
The blog suggests acknowledging that it's a struggle,
Right.
but it doesn't define us
Exactly.
as people.
And everyone procrastinates sometimes.
Oh, for sure.
I think even the most successful people
Right.
have those moments where they'd rather be doing something else.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So forgive yourself for the slip-ups.
Mm-hmm.
Focus on building more positive habits over time.
I like that. And speaking of positive habits,
Yes.
the article also talks about rewards.
Rewards.
I'm always up for that.
Me too.
Yeah.
How does that tie into beating procrastination?
Yeah. How does that work?
Well, this is where we can use the instant gratification monkey
Okay.
to our advantage.
Right.
Create a system where you reward yourself
Okay.
for completing tasks,
Okay.
no matter how small.
So like if I finish the first paragraph of my research paper,
Yeah.
I can reward myself with a piece of chocolate.
Exactly.
Okay, can get behind that.
Or a 15-minute break
Oh, okay.
to listen to your favorite podcast,
Right.
whatever motivates you.
I love that.
The key is to associate completing tasks
Yeah.
with something positive.
It's like training your brain
It
to see productivity
Yes.
as something desirable,
Exactly.
not something to avoid.
Yes, and those small wins
Yeah.
can really add up,
Okay.
lead to more significant progress.
Yeah. This is making so much more sense.
Good.
It's like we're finally giving the rational decision maker
Right.
the tools it needs
Yeah.
to take control.
That's it.
But it's not about eliminating procrastination completely.
No, I don't think that's realistic
Right.
for most of us.
No, but it's about understanding how it works
Exactly.
and having strategies to manage it.
To manage it effectively.
Yes, and it's like we're learning to work with our brains,
Yes.
not against them.
Exactly.
This is giving me a lot to think about,
Good.
but I feel like we're just scratching the surface. So we
Oh.
are. There's so much more to explore.
There is a ton of other procrastination busting strategies out there.
Well, luckily we have another part
Okay.
to this deep dive. So let's take a quick pause
Okay.
and then come back
Sounds good.
and unpack even more techniques
Yes.
for conquering procrastination.
I'm ready.
Stay with us. Okay, so we're back and ready for even more strategies
Strategies.
to tackle procrastination.
I love it.
Me too. We've already covered so much,
Yeah.
but I feel like we've just scratched the surface.
We have.
There's still so much to explore.
There is a whole universe of techniques out there.
I know, and one that I find really interesting
Yeah.
is temptation bundling.
Oh, temptation bundling.
That sounds intriguing. Tell me more.
So basically, it's a way to make those must-do tasks,
Okay.
the ones we often procrastinate on,
Right.
more appealing
More appealing.
by pairing them with something we enjoy.
So like listening to a podcast while doing the dishes. Is
Yeah.
that what you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or maybe you only allow yourself
Mm-hmm.
to watch your favorite show
Okay.
while you're folding laundry.
I like that.
You combine something you'd normally avoid
Right.
with something you look forward to.
That's so clever.
It is. It's like tricking your brain
Wait.
into associating
Yeah.
those dreaded tasks
Uh-huh.
with something positive.
I like it a lot. And speaking of creating a positive environment,
Yes.
the blog post also talks about a dedicated workspace.
Oh, yes, a dedicated workspace.
Having a specific spot for work
It's more than just a desk and a chair.
Oh, okay.
It's about creating a space
Right.
where your brain knows it's time to focus.
Okay.
You know, it signals to the instant gratification monkey
Yeah.
that it's time to take a break.
So when you enter that space, it's like
Yes.
flipping a switch.
Right.
And then when you leave,
Yeah.
it's time to relax and recharge.
Exactly. It's about establishing those clear boundaries between work and leisure.
Which can be hard when you work from home.
Especially challenging.
Yeah, it's so easy to get distracted by like
Oh, yeah.
social media
Social media is the worst.
and random internet browsing.
It's a black hole.
And your computer's right
It's
there.
always there.
Yeah, those distractions are a procrastinator's worst nightmare.
They so minimize those productivity killers.
So turn off those notifications.
Yes.
Put your phone on silent. Yeah.
Maybe use a website blocker
All of that.
so you don't get sucked in.
Create a force field.
A force field, yes. And finally, one last strategy
Okay.
that I want to highlight
What's that?
is accountability.
Oh, accountability is huge.
Having someone to help keep us on track.
It could be a family member, colleague,
Right.
or even a coach.
A coach. Okay.
Someone who knows your goals
Mm-hmm.
and can provide support.
And maybe a nudge.
Little nudge, yeah,
When you need it.
when you're tempted to stray.
It's like having your own personal cheerleader.
It is.
Someone rooting for you
Absolutely.
to succeed.
And sometimes just knowing
Yeah.
that someone's aware of your commitments
Yeah.
can keep you motivated.
This has been such a fascinating deep dive.
I agree.
I feel like I've learned so much
Yeah,
about why I procrastinate,
that's the first step.
but also how to start overcoming it.
That's the next step.
And I love that we went beyond the blog post
Yeah,
and dug into all these strategies.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure exploring this with you.
it really has. And remember, it's not about being a productivity robot.
No, it's not.
It's about finding what works for you
Exactly.
and creating a system
Yeah.
that supports your goals and values.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
We've given you a lot to think about today,
I hope so.
but now it's time to put it all into practice.
That's right.
What's one small step
Mhm.
you can take today
Yeah.
to tame your instant gratification monkey
That's the question.
and reclaim your productivity?
Until next time, happy deprocrastinating.
And thanks for joining us on another deep dive. See you next time.